Hello, this is Alicia from Quick and Delish. I'm in my kitchen and I thought I'd show you a couple tips about how to eat right now. How to eat a little healthier. So, a couple tips. I know some of you are eating maybe some canned soups or something like that, and I wanted to give you some recommendations how to enhance the canned soups as well as just some meal planning strategies. And so, a lot of these things are what I already always do. And so it's just I'm just continuing to do the same thing. And sometimes they go to the farmers market, sometimes they get more fresh stuff, and sometimes they eat more elaborate meals, but that's less often. And so I'm just eating more of my regular meal planning stuff now for during work and outside of work while I work at home remotely, like many of you. And thank you for those who are working out there in the world for us. The grocery stores, the healthcare providers and everything. Luckily, I'm a healthcare provider who gets to do their work remotely. Okay, cool. So I wanted to start out with just explaining. So I got a can of Progresso. It's a reduced sodium minestrone soup, and I wanted to show you. I took a picture of the package. So this is 2 cups of soup. And it could be considered a meal for some people, but it's not quite enough nutrients to consider it a meal. Like it's a almost full meal, right? So I'm going to read the nutrition information on my phone because I took a picture because I can't read the label because I'm illegally blind. Okay, so for the whole can, which is 2 cups, which most people could eat without a problem. So 2 cups is 250 calories. So this could be a snack, calorie-wise, or it could be a meal. But I think, so you get 10 grams of protein, and then you get 9 grams of fiber, which is pretty promising. I'm good with the fiber. 9 grams per meal is fantastic. But 10 grams of protein, I would recommend a little bit more protein. And then for a meal, and then the sodium situation is still out of control. So for the 2 cups, the whole can, the sodium is 1,010 milligrams for just this soup. And so the recommendation is, for somebody that has heart disease or hypertension to have somewhere around 1,500 milligrams. So you blow 3/4 or a little bit more than 3/4 of your sodium budget on the can of soup. And so that's kind of crazy. So what I would do to modify or add to this can of soup is I would have half of the soup. So use the flavoring of the soup for the base of a meal. And I do that all the time. I make puree soups and then I add to them. Because I tend to be somebody that likes to eat moist foods and use that as a way to stay hydrated. Okay, so I would use this can as 2 servings and then add protein to it. So what I would do is I would add some navy beans or some kind of other bean, your chickpeas, after you strain those beans because then that'll reduce your flatulence. And then maybe some quinoa. It takes 10 minutes to cook quinoa. You can cook it in the microwave. You can cook it on the stovetop. Check out my video for how to cook quinoa. It takes 10 minutes. So 1 cup of dry quinoa makes 2 cups of quinoa. That's a lot of quinoa to use up. And then you can freeze it. The day you cook something and you're not 100% you're going to use it in the next 3 days, just freeze it the day you cook it. So then it'll be fresher when you go use it in the future. Okay, so another grain you could use is farro. Farro's super fun. It's an Italian barley, and it's nutty. I think it's a little bit more nutty than barley, but it's similar to barley. And so farro cooks in about 20 minutes, and you boil it like pasta. I've had some patients that cooked it, and they didn't like the results because they cooked it like rice, where you do like just enough water to cook the rice and then you like fluff it up. So cook the barley or farro like pasta, strain off the water, and then just add it to whatever. And sometimes I'll freeze the barley or whatever the grain is or bean into jars. So this is some sort of like Indian spiced basmati rice that I made, and it's white basmati rice. It's not brown basmati rice. I just use what I like. Brown basmati, I don't like brown basmati rice as much for some reason. I'd rather go for the farro if I'm going to go with something that's a little bit more nuttier, but like if I'm doing like an Indian spice something or other, I'm going to use regular white basmati rice. It's not a deal breaker. And like brown rice is a little bit better than white rice, but it's more important to focus on the portion of your carbohydrates than the ingredient itself. So if you like white rice, whatever white rice you like, it's more important to focus on the portion that you're having, that it works with your health goals, than the notion of like you have to have brown rice. Because the notion of brown rice, like if somebody said you should really change to brown rice, you know what I mean, and you don't like it, that would be a limiting step that would inhibit you to make changes in your diet that are healthful, and that you're not willing to change because you don't like brown rice. So I'm willing to, like, you have to work with what you like and enjoy, but have smaller portions if you're having a larger portion of the carbohydrate. That's a common thing. Okay, so this actually has at Trader Joe's, you can get shredded carrot. So I actually just bought shredded carrot and cooked it with some frozen peas and some Indian spices, and I froze this rice mixture. So I'm almost, there with a meal. I just need some protein and some veggies, right? So that's something I do. And yesterday, I want to show you, so I froze this. I'm going to put it in the freezer again. It's already frozen, or it's thawing, but I'm going to put it in the freezer in a minute. So this is beef. I got some ground beef, grass-fed ground beef from like Safeway, and some canned beans that I rinsed. So I have kidney beans and black beans in here, and then some roasted sweet potatoes. And so what I'm going to do is, so I froze these yesterday. I made 6 of them, and from 1 pound of beef, grass-fed beef. And I had some like dried basil and some dried oregano, and I didn't quite get to the garlic part, but I have some pesto I'm thawing, so I might add a little bit of that when I heat it up for more options of flavoring, right? And so what I'm going to do is tonight or tomorrow, I'm not sure, when I get there, I'm going to, I got some mushrooms and some asparagus that I'm going to use up. And my asparagus I have asparagus spears in the refrigerator for like 2 weeks still, and they're totally fine. I change the water once, once every 5 days or something. So I'm going to saute mushrooms. I'm going to add sauteed mushrooms to these frozen meals. I'm going to add some asparagus, and I got some broccoli I'm going to roast. So those are 3 vegetables I'm going to add to my meals. And then I'm going to freeze them. I'm going to freeze in the containers with already like started frozen meal. And then I'm going to eat the rest of the fresh vegetables I cooked today or tomorrow starting this week. And so you don't have to make the complete frozen meal all at once. You can do what you can and then add to it as you cook more things. So like break things down into totally doable situations. Because sometimes I literally just, okay, I got time to cook some meat, and so I cook meat or whatever, some chicken, or rinse some beans. Like I've just rinsed beans. Rinsing beans was the one task that I could do in the kitchen, so that, because sometimes rinsing beans can feel annoying. So that's why I like having frozen beans. Like you can get black-eyed peas frozen, you can get black beans frozen. Different grocery stores have different beans. Edamame, frozen edamame is awesome. Look for the low sodium edamame, loose edamame, and you can make like edamame hummus. You can make, I made carrot ginger soup yesterday, and I left a lot of headspace in these jars so that I can add protein in there. Could be black beans. I really like orange and black together. Reminds me of Halloween, year round. And what else do you need? So this is a vegetable, liquid vegetable, which is a carrot ginger soup is liquid vegetable. And then add protein, right? So it could be beans or it could be whatever protein. Sometimes I'll have like 2 hard-boiled eggs and then add some sort of fiber, right? So that could be add some farro, add some quinoa, add a mixture of beans, quinoa, and lentils or something like that, or add some of this rice if it's available. What else do I have here? Oh, I want to show you, I got some ground bison, and this is from Safeway. And so check out, this is not my favorite way to purchase meat. I would prefer to buy it from the butcher, and then be handed over fresh meat, right? That would be ideal for me. But sometimes you just have to do the best you can with the situation, no matter where you are, sheltering in place or not. So I bought, I think I bought 5 or 6 pounds of this bison and the grass-fed beef. So they're 1 pound packages, and so the reason why I bought these packages for a bunch of different reasons. So it's a small package. So when I went grocery shopping, I wanted to maximize on the volume of what I could buy, because I can only carry so much. Because I walk or I ride my bike to go grocery shopping, so I can literally only carry so much. I love my friends that drive. When I can go grocery shopping with them, it's one of my favorite things to do. And because I can get more and stock up more. And I tend to stock up on more stuff, even when I'm at a grocery store. I'll stock up the best I can on like the future stuff that's helpful, like the just keeping the kitchen inventory in a good place. Okay, so I was thinking about the package size. So like if you get turkey or chicken or whatever, they come in these like tray packages if you're not getting from the butcher. And so those take up more space. So that's why I could get more beef or bison than I could turkey or chicken. So that's why I did that. And I don't normally eat a lot of beef or bison, but it was literally the package size and the place that I went and all these other variables. And so it's just like, that's how I think all the time. The situation, where am I shopping? What can I maximize in this shopping trip so that I'm good to go in the certain things that one store has, because we can't get everything at one place. And you tell me if you're a Costco purchaser or Sam's Club or all those big places, can you really get everything you need there? I question that. Okay, another thing about frozen vegetables. So sometimes you might be frozen avocado, right? Isn't that so cool? I think you can see that. So frozen avocado, I question the nutrition facts label. There's something wrong with it. That's a different project. Anyway, you can get frozen avocado, because sometimes it's really annoying if you don't use avocado, and then you have to use it when it's perfect, and then if you mess up or if it's bruised inside, then you're sad, and that's not cool. This frozen avocado is really cool. So if I have a meal like this, I'll like sprinkle some avocado and then I'll heat it up in the microwave or in the oven, depending on what I'm doing, what else I have going on, and that's really cool. And then I wanted to remind you that roasted red bell peppers totally count as a vegetable in a flavoring situation, and so you can make like some sort of salad with chickpeas and roasted bell pepper. You can get artichokes in a jar, in water or in marinated or whatever, and then you just strain off the liquid, and then add some garlic, and then maybe some other vegetables, maybe some spinach or, I don't know, kale or something like that, whatever vegetables you got around. And then you got a meal, right? You got beans, you got some roasted bell pepper, maybe some balsamic vinegar, olive oil, garlic, yeah, I don't know, something else. So broccoli, I like different kinds of broccoli. I got some super finely chopped broccoli, which is really helpful for adding vegetables to meals like this, because it's cut up really small. I like having frozen spinach or frozen kale around to add to meals. And then I wanted to give Whole Foods, the 365 brand, extra credit because their frozen broccoli is cut up. I don't know if I'm doing this well, but I'm trying without spilling it. The broccoli pieces are cut up really small, and I really like smaller pieces of broccoli specifically. Well, I would never cut my broccoli this small. That's why I like it. I would cut it a lot bigger, and then I would just like manage. And you know, in general, I like my vegetables cut up bigger so there's texture. But like when somebody can cut things for me, so that was extra credit for the Whole Foods 365 brand of broccoli florets. So other frozen broccoli besides this one that's chopped really finely is really big, and then it takes longer to cook. See, I think about all these little details that are super helpful for you to know. I know a ton of stuff about different grocery stores, like the best salsa verde to add to the chicken salsa verde recipe down below in my cooking videos. Chicken salsa verde is an awesome recipe, ridiculously easy, and 4 ingredients: chicken, 2 cans of black beans, a jar of salsa verde, and the brand that I love. I should become best friends with the brand actually. Herdez, Herdez, is my favorite brand of salsa verde. I would go with mild. I think they have medium. And I'm just gonna show the package. I forgot I had. So I recently found out that they have cans. I think I'm showing the whole thing. Okay, so this is Herdez. So I usually get the jar for whatever reason. Jars are better. I don't know. Whatever, jars, cans. They have pros and cons to both, right? But this one's cool because it's small. I'm not likely to eat all of the jar of the salsa on my own in the next couple weeks. And it's going to go bad eventually. And so it's just good to keep an eye out on that. So I was super stoked actually. I get excited about weird little things. So this is the mild one that I love. So you can get a can and then, you know, I could use this up in a week, no problem. But it's the jars that I wouldn't be able to use up in a very long time. So cool. So a little bit about meal planning during sheltering in place. And I think that's it for today. I got a pineapple. It's a giant pineapple. I really hope it's good inside. You know, sometimes pineapples are bruised. Anyway, so that's it from me today. Today's day 12 of the 33-day self-care is our best defense challenge. And comment on any of the tips that you think are helpful. So stretching out your can of soup to make a balanced meal by adding a little bit more protein, cutting it in half, adding a little bit more protein, add some vegetables to stretch out the salt. Yeah, that was one of my tips. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go for a walk out there in the world, get some fresh air, and inspired by the outdoors. To be continued, hasta mañana, and bye!